Hello and welcome to today's Battlemech reviews. I'll put an S there because we're going to look at quite a few different mechs today. All fairly recent machines that we didn't have too many occasions to look at. All the machines that were being used in fairly large amount during the Guerra on Terra Mark, at this point I would say Mark 17 or something like that. The ilClan trial, or what you will often see just as the modern Battle of Terra in 3151 between, well, Clan Wolf, the Republic of the Sphere, and Clan Jade Falcon. With Clan Wolf having the first place finish, Clan Jade Falcon having the second place finish, and our friends in the Republic of the Sphere in third place, losing everything that they had. It's a lot of different small mechs here that we are going to look at. All sorts of different things, and we might not go into super huge depth on all of them, but we're going to talk about what the different machines were, why they were built, and why they were brought to Terra. We can see that the big difference between Clan Jade Falcon and Clan Wolf in terms of what they were bringing over. So a few different things we're going to look at, and I'm going to try to see if I can just clip some of these different mech sections and maybe just do small videos on each of them at some point or something along those lines. It's going to be a bit of experimenting in this case. So let's get into it. The 3151 invasion of Terra by Clan Wolf and followed up by Clan Jade Falcon is going to be viewed as a pivotal moment in history, pretty much like the retaking of Terra by Alexander Kerensky and a few different major battles like that. The Republic of the Sphere really got beaten up in that particular situation because they were really expecting the clans to show up and play nice and play by the rules like they're used to, rather than, well, we're wanting to take over Terra, we're supposed to take over Terra because that's been the main goal of the clan since forever. So we're going to pull no stops in this particular fight. So the Republic basically got kicked out the door, and the Wolves and the Falcons met up in North America and duked it out in what would be known as one of the biggest battle in history, I would say. The idea was really to know who was going to be the next big boss, and while I'm oversimplifying things quite a bit here, you could check out the documentary Hour of the Wolf. There is an actual documentary in ilClan as well. There's a few different things you can read and figure out to know exactly like the details of what happened there. Both Clan Wolf and the Jade Falcons really brought their A game to Terra, including a lot of purpose-built machine for the job and brand new equipment that was very recent and generally top of the line. Some of them were really modern design that saw their first action fighting the Republic of the Sphere planetside, and a lot of them featured experimental technologies being pressed into service before mass adoption was going to be completed. And a lot of that stuff was also made by Clan Seafox, which made a massive profit through that whole operation. We're going to go by weight range here for the different machines that we're going to see, and we're going to start with the Iron Sparrow, aka the Butcherbird. It was originally released in 3147. It was meant to be a trainer for Clan Jade Falcon. A small little machine that is able to jump quite a bit and move quite quickly. And it was originally seen by the Lyran Commonwealth. It's 20 tons. It can go up to 125 kilometers per hour or so, just like a Locust back in the days. And nowadays, you get faster Locusts with masks and superchargers around. But this one can jump 300 meters using a partial wing to increase its jump distance, which makes it quite mobile. You save on weight by putting an endosteel skeleton and 3 tons of ferrofibrous armor, which is really not a whole lot, but it's a 20-ton mech. I guess there has to be a trade-off somewhere. You even use a small cockpit, which is quite uncommon amongst the clans, to save a little bit on weight on that, and the pilot is going to be uncomfortable. It's not going to be meant for long-term engagements. It's meant to go in and out, and hopefully the pilot survives. As far as equipment, well, the Iron Sparrow has 4 tons of pod space available since it's an Omnimech. Your base setup uses 2 improved heavy-medium lasers, giving you quite a serious punch on a mech that size, and 2 anti-personnel Gauss rifle to take care of infantry and lightly armored target. You're really fast, you'll be able to get in and out, and you'll be able to get into dangerous spots with those weapons. Pretty easy to get into another mech's back if you can jump 300 meters. There's also Configuration A that was ready for the Battle of Terra, which has 8 light machine guns and an active probe, because you want to find where the infantry is and press the delete button. That's literally all that machine was meant to do. And in the Battle of Terra, it was quite important because, well, the Republic of the Sphere was using a massive amount of infantry. While the pilot is still squeezed in the small cockpit, you don't have any backups, and you don't have that, regular lavatory that you have in your mech's cockpit. You still have hand on throttle and stick kind of setup, so the pilot has a really easy time piloting it. So overall, even though there's a small cockpit, the pilot is not going to be as inefficient as it sometimes is when you use one of those cramped little things. Moving up in size, well, we're still going to look at another Falcon machine, which is the Hierofalcon, which is a 45-ton cavalry trooper Omnimech. Whatever the Jade Falcon say about it, that's pretty much what that machine built to be. Uses a 270 XL, so you go to about 98 kilometers per hour in a straight line. It has that partial wing that many Jade Falcon mechs now have, but no built-in jump jets. So you need to add them if you want to be able to jump. Even adding a single one would give you, well, at least, 90 meters of jump range. So it's not a very bad thing to have. 7.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor is decent on a mech that size. It's going to cover your typical Omnimech endosteel chassis. You sacrifice a little bit of internal space for that kind of things. But at 45 tons, you're probably going to be able to squeeze in guns and jump jets and whatever you want on it. And it makes it, like I said, a very decent cavalry trooper, even if it's called a raider sometimes or whatever people would want to call it. You get 19 tons of pod space on a 45-tonner, which is pretty fantastic, even though 3 of those tons are probably going to go to jump jets every single time. Your base setup gives you a tag laser to guide artillery and semi-guided LRMs. Those are not super common amongst the clans, but they do exist. And you get an ECM to defend you against all sorts of EWAR stuff. Your main gun is an Assault Gauss Rifle 20, backed by 2 improved heavy medium laser, making you a pretty good trooper. You're in the same kind of category as your, let's say, a Vindicator or an Enforcer, in a way, even though you're quite a bit more mobile. If you want to kill tanks, well, Configuration B has 36 tubes of SRM with 4 tons of case-protected ammo and 2 ER small laser and an ER medium laser. With the amount of tanks, once again, that the Republic of the Sphere was fielding, something with that many tubes of SRM is going to cause all sorts of fun things to happen. On the other end of the spectrum, the Clan Wolf War Machine on Terra featured quite a few Battlemechs and a lot fewer Omnimechs, at least not in their, let's say, frontline units or in the brand new designs. You had new things that were either designed by Clan Wolf or by Clan Wolf with assistance from Ghost Bear or assistance from Clan Seafox. An example of that is the 50-ton Firestorm, which is an incendiary mech through and through. We don't have that many incendiary mech out there, the Firestarter being the main one. But this one here, well, you can tell it's an incendiary mech. It starts with a plasma rifle, which can deal damage and eat and burn things up. A plasma cannon, which is only an heat-generating weapon. And your bog standard flamer. To back this up, you get a pair of ER medium lasers and a micropulse lasers for even more anti-infantry work. But if you have to start using that micropulse laser to kill infantry on a mech with a plasma rifle, a plasma cannon, and a flamer, you might have some problems. You get 24 double heat sinks to keep you warm because all of those guns are really high in the heat index. As far as basic performance goes, well, the Firestorm is protected by 9 tons of ferrofibrous armor, which is pretty good on a 50-ton mech. And this is, of course, over an endosteel chassis. You get a somewhat basic 250 XL engine with a mask, so you can get a standard speed of about 86 kilometers per hour with bursts of speed up to 110 kilometers per hour if required. You get 7 improved jump jets, which allow you to bounce 210 meter in the air to try to avoid the fires that you've just started. As far as an incendiary mech goes, I think this is a very nice baseline machine. I don't know if there's going to be new variants or new designs based on it. I'd probably build one myself with regular jump jet instead of the improved one and use the saved space on, armor and a few other different things. But I don't have access to the Firestorm directly here. I think I've only seen 1 or 2 in the hangars here. Next on the block is a brand new totem mech for Clan Wolf with the Stormwolf Omnimech. Another one at 50 tons. It was designed by Ramiel Becker, who's a Ghost Bear commander that basically transitioned the Clan Wolf after being captured. It's based off the Wendigo, which is a Ghost Bear machine that I don't quite appreciate, while the Stormwolf I do like a bit more. It's powered by a 300XL engine, so it's a pretty big engine, and it has both a supercharger and a mask in the musculature, so you can technically go with bursts of speed of about 162 kilometers per hour on a 50-ton mech, which is pretty darn fast. If that wasn't enough, you can also jump 180 meters with it. The skeleton is obviously endo steel, and the armor is set up as laser reflective compound. On an Omnimech that is going to be deployed in all sorts of situation, laser reflective is one of those armor compound that's decent enough because people are going to be using lasers just about everywhere. But ferrofibrous is lighter, takes about the same amount of room. I'm not 100% sure if it's always worth it. To increase defense on it, you also have a laser anti-missile system. You can see it at the top of the head on that drawing there. So it's a pretty good defensive setup overall. As you're investing a lot in defense and mobility, well, you're going to be a little bit restricted in terms of pod space. You get 15 tons of pod space, and I'm pretty sure you should have kept the jump jets and the supercharger off of the base body and use that space if required for other different configurations. The base configuration uses a rotary AC-5 with 3 tons of case-protected ammo and a tag in ER medium lasers to back you up. It's not terrible. With the kind of speed you're getting, you'll be getting to where you want to shoot that rotary AC-5. Configuration A features a plasma rifle and the large pulse lasers. I really think that one is a lot more fun. Here we see the Thresher Mark II, which was designed by Clan Seafox because they wanted to make a quick buck on a design that was, well, not super popular. Nobody really wanted to buy it. It was staying in the hangars, waiting for some Inner Sphere commander to maybe want to put some money down. But as the Battle of Terra was drawing near, Alaric Ward just bought the entire stock and put some people in it. It's ramshackle at best, unless you have a tech go through it and make sure that all the bugs and bells and whistles are fixed. You might have some nasty surprise when you turn it on. But the Thresher Mark II is still meant to be somewhat cheap, using a standard 300XL engine. It's an expensive engine, but it's common enough that you're going to be able to find it. And you've got a supercharger and a mask on it to get bursts of speed of up to 140 kilometers per hour. Your base speed on this is going to be that regular 96 kilometers per hour or so. 5 jump jets are added to it because why wouldn't you? It's really meant to be another very mobile battle mech. You get 9.5 tons of that reflective armor compound on an endo steel chassis, and it's cooled down by 13 double heat sinks, which is somewhat enough, let's say. Not the best defended machine. It's going to be fast, and that's where you will be having some protection. The Mark II is meant to engage targets at medium range with a targeting computer to increase your accuracy at that particular range bracket. For weapons, you get something fairly simple, an ERPPC, a Type 22, and a Series 44H large pulse laser, backed up by a 15-rack Clan Crossbow LRM rack. Everything that's going to be able to get you into that medium range, basically, but still be able to engage stuff at a decent enough long range. And if things get close by, well, you are still very capable of fighting by adding a 4-tube SRM to the mix. All the ammo is protected by case 2 to make sure that you don't blow up. It's going to be a mid-range mech. It's going to be performant enough that it's going to be able to fill in ranks. But with how it's built, I'm not sure it's going to be a thing that's going to be mass-produced after the Battle of Terra. So who knows what the performance is going to be on that in the long run. The Sojourner was actually designed by Clan Wolf in Exile right before they reunited with Clan Wolf Terra. It's another 60-ton machine, but this one is a nice little Omnimech. And it uses a standard 240 engine to go up to 64 kilometers per hour with a supercharger, once again, to go up to 86 kilometers per hour. A standard engine on a mech like this is going to make it cheaper than most of the things that you are going to see out there. You have an endosteel skeleton, fairly basic, and a ferrofibrous armor. You've got 10.5 tons of it, which makes it a little bit better protected than a few of the mechs we've seen earlier. The right arm is equipped with an actuator enhancement system, which allows that particular arm to be more accurate and a little bit tougher. It's rugged. It's got that hand on throttle and stick kind of setup for the cockpit, so it's really easy to pilot. It's easy to fix. It was meant to basically go against everything else the Clan Wolf was building in a way, because Wolf in Exile was still trying to be their own thing. But I don't think it's a bad setup at that particular weight range and at that particular price range on top of it. 25.5 tons of pod space is still quite decent on a 60-ton machine. You could have set up that supercharger internally as a pod instead. I'm not the one that's going to complain about this. The primary configuration uses a Gauss rifle on the actuator enhanced system for precise sniping, which is backed by an ER large laser and a plasma cannon. Configuration Charlie mounts a pair of LRM-20s on the shoulders with an heavy large laser in the right arm and a micro pulse laser infantry. You can see that you can build pretty much whatever you want. It's an Omnimech, but they always were thinking about how to make this efficient. Next up is probably one of my favorite brand new machine, the Dominator, which apparently is being built on Ford by Ford nowadays as well. At 65 ton, the Dominator is another machine that puts a lot of weight into its mobility. It's got a 325 XL with a supercharger, giving you a speed of 110 kilometers per hour, and you're able to jump 150 meters on top of that. There's good reasons for it, mainly because the Dominator is meant to get into close range combat with people and punch them in the face, death from above, all those kind of things that the clans were not very well known for. But nowadays, with things like the Dominator, well, they are going to be. It's got 10.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor, which is very decent. And it's got the basic endosteel chassis to make everything fit on it. While you do have sniping weapons with an ER large laser and an ER PPC, the Dominator is meant to get into knife fighting range to use its targeting computer to deal highly accurate blows at short range. Once you've managed to reduce the armor of your opponent quite a bit, you get a Streak 6 tube of SRM to get inside the holes you've made or to take out regular tanks and other vehicles. You get a ER small laser mounted to the back of the head. I've seen some switching it to face forward, obviously. And you've got 18 double heat sinks to actually keep you decently cooled while shooting all of that stuff. Back to Clan Jade Falcon. Well, we are going to be looking at the Jade Phoenix, which is their new totem mech. So much so that apparently a milligram of the armor on that mech comes from Aiden Pride's Timberwolf that he lost on Tukayid. That is very doubtful, but, you know, we'll go with the flow here. Jade Phoenix is an 85-ton Omnimech with a partial wing with no hardwired jump jets. Once again, it's an investment. If you put a single jump jet on there, you're going to be able to take advantage of the partial wing, so it's not a bad idea. It also has 13 hard-mounted double heatsink. The skeleton is made of endo composite, which saves you a little bit of weight, but takes up just a little bit more room in your internals. And you've got 13.5 tons of ferrofibrous armor, like that Timberwolf we were talking about earlier. 37 tons of pod space is quite reasonable on an assault mech of this particular range, and you get 4 of those tons that are probably going to go towards jump jet. The primary configuration has a pair of ERPPCs, giving you all-purpose firepower that's pretty good, and it's backed by an Hyper Assault Gauss 30 with 3 tons of reload for more anti-air support and general flak. Alpha configuration is meant for close-range quarters with a large, medium, and small pulse laser in one arm and a massive Ultra 20 class autocannon in the other. To be able to bring that big gun to bear, you get 6 improved jump jets, giving you a jump range of about 210 meters on an 85-ton machine, which is quite impressive. Another mech that I've seen quite a few times and I quite enjoy is the Amarok, which is piloted by my close friend Andrew Young. And it's one that I've actually fixed a few times, and it actually saved my life now a few times as well. At 100 ton, it's meant to be a very tough SOB that gets in and out of scraps with a 400 XL engine with a supercharger. You only get a top speed of about 75 kilometers per hour with that supercharger because the armor is set up as Ardent armor, and that's 20.5 tons of Ardent armor, which is rather terrifying. It was originally built as an Omnimech by Spy, but it's really just a very stable and simple Battlemech with giant punching gloves and a very nasty demeanor. It was designed as well by Ramiel Becker. It's another one of those machines basically made for the wolves by a ghost bear. It was meant to have flip arms that you could bring over the head, but the base design never really worked, and it just has that very orthodox kind of look nowadays. The Amarok has 3 main guns, the first one being a capacitor-powered ERPPC in one torso, a large pulse laser in the center torso, and a rotary AC-5 with 2 tons of ammo in the other. Once things get close enough, you have a pair of Streak 6-tube SRM to exploit oils in the armor or it on various tanks fairly efficiently. There's already 2 new variants that exist for it that move things around and change things a little bit. We'll probably get to those at some point in the future. Finally, we have the new official Gauss boat of Clan Wolf with the Crucible. It's built as a second-line support machine. It has 4 Gauss rifle fed by 8 tons of ammo to make sure nothing gets close to your supply depot or to anything it's supposed to protect. Against infantry that wants to bug you, while you do have a micropulse laser, I guess it's just there to fill in a hole. Unlike machines like the Rifleman II or the Annihilator, this one can actually stay on the field with those 8 tons of ammo and a rather significant amount of armor. It's also more mobile than your Annihilator. It uses a 300 XL engine, very common kind of thing nowadays, giving it a top speed of 54 kilometers per hour, and you also have a 3 of jump jets for fast repositioning. The Endosteel chassis is protected by 15 tons of standard armor, and it runs extra cool thanks to 12 double heat sinks, cooling down 4 Gauss rifles, which are not going to be generating heat to begin with. There's already new variants for this around. There's the Mark III that has 4 Hyper Assault Gauss with tons of ammo and a pair of large pulse lasers. I think I like that one better for base defense. It's going to be really nasty against aerospace fighter, VTOLs, or anything that needs to be taken out really quickly. While all the Jade Falcon machines we looked at here are all top of the line and meant to stay in production, for the Wolf side of the equation, most of those were meant to be disposable. I'm not sure which they are going to keep building. I hope some of them just stick around because they are quite decent. There's other that I'm less sure about, but one of them is the Stormwolf, which is supposed to be a totem mech. So who knows where this is really going to go. I have a feeling things like the Thresher Mark II and the Firestorm are going to disappear over time or maybe just be built in extremely limited amount, while other machines like the Amarok or the Dominator probably going to stick around a little bit longer since they are quite efficient at what they're supposed to be. Many of those machines would make mercenary commanders really happy and second-line unit commanders in the clan Tomans quite happy as well. So, once again, it's a situation where we're going to have to keep an eye out, an ear out, and our C-bill wallets out just to buy whatever pops out of the remains of the Battle of Terra. So I hope you guys have a very nice rest of your day. I thank you for listening to me for so long, and I'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.